Remember the good old days. Remember the good old days when you could sit at the dinner table with your family and talk about politics and not get stabbed to death with a fucking steak knife? Remember? I remember. I mean, it's so vicious now, isn't it? But that's not even the interesting part. Here's what gets me. Isn't it odd how the more divided we are in our political opinions as a people, the more alike the two candidates who are supposed to be opposing each other actually seem? Pick your favorite flavor of shit, dog shit or cat shit. Like, what if I don't want to eat shit? What if the American people don't want to eat shit, but they gotta eat something? That's what's on the menu. Shit, shit, and more shit. For dessert, I think I'll just take the check, thank you. Not even eat. Most disgusting fucking restaurant. You know, I got my old place, but every once in a while, I go home to visit my family. And since there's never anything to talk about nowadays in this country except, like, what's trending on Facebook and the election is usually like 75% of that shit. You know, what's the first thing I hear when I come in the door? Oh, the debates were on last night. Who do you think won and shit? And I'm like, well, judging fairly based on semantics and debate performance, not my political opinion, but no bias. I try to be unbiased when I'm judging this shit. I think Hillary won by default just because she didn't fall down. Oh, you know what Trump said was actually really interesting. It really made a lot of sense to me. It's like, do you go to Bears games? I get it. You're a Bears fan. You're cheering on the Bears. Like, woo, go Bears. But then when they get their ass kicked by the Packers, do you suddenly go, oh, you know what? The Bears played really interesting. It's like, no, they lost because they suck. That's what happened. Your candidate lost because he sucks. He doesn't know how to debate. He doesn't know how to talk. He can't even face up against an already horrible presidential candidate like Hillary Clinton. He can't even match up to that piece of shit. Last week, we discovered the unthinkable. The media finally got their hands on the nitty-gritty on Donald Trump. If you were still thinking about voting for Trump, the media's like, oh no, this'll get those last Republicans on the Hillary train. So they released these tapes of Donald Trump on a frickin' tour bus or whatever with Billy Bush.
I did try and fuck her. She was married.
It's huge news there.
And I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping.
You're a star. They let you do it. You can do anything. Whatever you want.
Grab him by the pussy.
I can do anything.
Whoa.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes, the Donald is good.
And it turns out Donald Trump could actually be a rapist. Wow. Wow, I mean, what a new low for this country. Can you believe it? How could a country that was founded on slavery, destroying native cultures, on distrust of the masses, with rigged elections like this one, how could it have come to this? Trump for president? Blows my mind. And you know what pissed me off lately? Michelle Obama came out and stopped teaching us how to doogie for 30 seconds and actually had a chance to give us a real clear-cut honesty about this election. But she's a political tool, as we expect, so we don't get that. She says what Donald Trump said about women, quote, "It shakes me to my core. I am shaken to my core. They go low, we go high." Are you high, Michelle? How is anyone the least bit shocked that Trump said this, after all? At this point, Trump could come out on the podium with no pants, and I would just keep scrolling through my Facebook like, oh, there he goes again. Because I think most Americans at this point have reached the point where we don't give a shit. I'm not even remotely famous, but if I did a video with no pants, you know I got no pants, that would just be inexcusable. Everybody who saw it would just be like, how can this happen? But when Donald Trump does it, he's done so much other fucked up shit that you figure it pretty much comes with the package. So now we discover he's a rapist. Oh no, not that. Guess who founded this country, folks? Rapists. And not just the ordinary rapists, not just the everyday howdy-doody, clock in, clock out rapists. No, rapists that owned people if you were black or whatever other color besides white. Yeah, bought and sold you on the market right next to the apples and potatoes. Hot cross buns, 1 a penny, 2 a penny, and also this fucking slave over here, fresh off the boat. Not the week-old stuff they're selling over there. You want the fresh meat right here, folks. Mine's the best. Thomas Jefferson was known to have another family through a slave woman. Okay, they even made a sitcom about it called The Jeffersons. Yet he is touted in the history books as one of the proud fathers of our country. And in other respects, he was a great man. Do we as a nation have any moral authority in saying that Donald Trump is, oh, we're way out of his league? And I grew up with people just like Trump. This is America, folks. I mean, this is the America that the politicians are trying to hide. They're trying to elevate us so they make us think, oh, we're so much better than this. We're not. This is literally our own monstrous reflection looking back at us, and we're petrified of it. And guess what? He's still better than Hillary. If Trump did rape people, okay, hypothetically, then I would almost be glad he was president. The Secret Service would keep that motherfucker away from people. Maybe not the people that work for him, like the secretaries and shit. They shouldn't even be working for him. That's up to them. They won't let anybody near him. Not because that they think he'll rape you, but because they think that you'll kill him. But it still helps. Keep your hands to yourself. And the Secret Service just be like, I gotta take a bullet for this? The Donald? Well, he better tip the shit out of me. Some shit goes down with Hillary. If she gets shot out, all she has to do is turn into a bat and fly away. And Michelle Obama said that Donald Trump's words shake her to her core. It's like, really? Some dumb schoolyard bully is gonna intimidate you, Michelle? You're coming at me with those fucking big giant ass tranny ass arms and you're gonna tell me that you're intimidated by this guy? Or are you just using this as political leverage as usual? Girl, shut your ass and get back in the garden. Or are you gonna let that shake you to your core as well? I know many other presidents who would have gladly shaken you to your core against your will. That's history. That's what this country was founded on, folks. The country that gives you the power that you have now. History has always been a double-edged sword. And the men that have come along with it, like Donald Trump, have always been just as two-faced. But his words don't change the fact that your candidate is a lizard shit straight from the bowels of Satan sent to do his bidding and continuing the work of Ronald Reagan. You're talking about mass-scale corruption with Hillary, defrauding people with her fucking secret emails and checks in the mail and all that. It's not even about what necessarily came out of it. It's that the behavior is shady as fuck. I have more of an urge to look into that than I do into the personal turmoil of a fucking talking hemorrhoid. Hillary is literally every libertarian's fear of big government coagulated into one metal pantsuit. She is what the government does. She has given people like Donald Trump the tax breaks that they want, which is why he's donated to the Clintons as far back as like a few years ago. As far back as the beginning of this election, he was playing golf with Bill Clinton. You know, progressives always like to talk about how the rich aren't paying enough taxes. They're not paying their fair share. But rarely do they ever discuss who's actually gotta pay us, the working class, and whatever's left of the middle class that Republicans love to talk about for some reason. We gotta pay for Obamacare, which is basically forcing you to pay for private health insurance instead of the public option, which Obama sacrificed, which is probably the worst move of his presidency. We gotta pay for drones to kill people, 90% of whom are likely completely innocent Muslim citizens. Donald Trump is the xenophobe, he's the racist one. Obama's deported more immigrants than any president in history. And he's gonna talk about how Trump is the bigot. You have to think about not only how much, but what kind of hypocrisy it is. Is it political or is it personal? For Donald Trump, it's mostly personal. What Trump says is bullshit. I don't have to confirm that for you. The media is doing that already. You should have an IQ of at least double digits to be able to figure that out. That's how fucking dumb he is. But one, what he actually says, it's almost too batshit to even be wrong. It crosses the line from wrong into just like, oh, this guy, you can't take him seriously. And yet, the alarm clock mentality of liberals is doing exactly that. It's exaggerating the threat. It's like a fucking seagull running away from my footstep on the beach. I was going nowhere near it. I had breadcrumbs for it. You fuck up, fine. Even if he becomes president, which he won't, he's never gonna build a wall. He's never gonna do a ban on Muslims. Secondly, what he says would piss me off so much more if the Democrats didn't assume the role of the moral authority in this country. They're becoming the party of Reagan now. This is the sneakiest, most defeating blow to liberalism I have seen yet. In my view, liberals are supposed to challenge social mores, not enforce them, especially when it comes to speech. All they're saying to Donald Trump and to Americans everywhere is, you can't say that. Bitch, yes I can. I can say the word nigger, I can say the word faggot, I can say the word kike if I wanted to for a specific purpose. It doesn't matter how racist it is, the point is preserving that very right so we can actually have a fair argument. Trump was a private businessman and a celebrity, for fuck's sake. Why are we holding him to a different standard than a public servant, than a former senator and secretary of state? Why aren't we investigating her the same amount? And the reason is because the media and the establishment want her. She is their candidate. She is their lapdog. If that's not reason enough not to vote for her, then I don't know what is. And I'm not saying vote for Trump either, but I'm just debating who is actually worse if you compare them side by side. Alright, let's compare their messages. Hillary is an enabler of the status quo. She has no new ideas. Zero. A big fat fucking zero. Give me one new idea from Hillary. Give me one. You can't do it. Hillary is like the new Ghostbusters movie. The only thing new about it is its shittiness and vagina. It's a shit-filled vagina. And we've all seen that done in a million different pornos, haven't we? Donald Trump at least wants to change something, even if it is our gene pool. And he knows the only way you change anything with this corrupt government is not to listen, to turn into a tyrant. Obviously, most of his suggestions are total hogwash. But at least it's something. At least he's not sleeping in the boardroom. Donald Trump, what are your ideas? Build a wall and ban Muslims. Well, it's on the list. Hillary, you got anything? No? Bitch, shit, sit your ass up. Get your fucking chair donut or whatever and sit your munchkin ass up, Grandma. Come on. What, you think you're gonna sleep through this whole election? But that's what she's been doing. Because Donald Trump is an unforeseen luxury to her. He's her little good luck charm. No one cares that you listen to Katy Perry, Hillary. Come on now. I know it's hard when you're dealing with a toddler, but why do you gotta be a neglectful cunt to the rest of your children? Let me explain why Trump, in theory, not actually reality, is a smidgen better than Hillary Clinton. This is why he's better. When you change something in a radical sense, as opposed to incrementally like Hillary wants to do, when you change something radically, even if it's something that's in the totally wrong direction from what the people want, that is going to provoke a reaction just as strong. Hillary Clinton wants to diffuse reaction. She wants to keep a real revolution hush-hush. She wants to change things so slowly. Her poison is so slow that we don't even notice it's killing us. Assuming she even has a plan after sacrificing us to Lucifer. And she can't pretend like America hasn't always been a land of primeval mudslinging. This is a land where we glorify violence and fear sexuality. That's the way it's always been. But we can't always tell because we always have these super sanitized leaders on TV telling us we're better than that. Why are we pretending that Donald Trump, he's so beneath us that we just can't accept him as a president, when we can easily accept this Wall Street whore? Doesn't it say something that Trump is running against her? It's saying one of two things. One, he's either working for her to get her elected, because this is literally the only person that she can run and win against. This is literally the only one. I think this was the last one on the list, probably. Even Ted Cruz could have beat this bitch.
Yeah, the election wasn't rigged.
Or at the very least, he's a horribly misguided but valid opposition if he actually does oppose her. But he's still anti-establishment nonetheless. Him not wanting to be president, in my view, could be almost a valid reason to vote for him. Do something totally unexpected as a country. Break with the status quo. Hillary certainly won't be elected because her policy is better. She's going to get elected because, one, the establishment prefers their evil served cold instead of flaming hot. And two, the people seem to prefer it the same way for some reason. Again, I think it's just that our country is scared of its own reflection, and that reflection looks an awful lot like Donald Trump. Yet whatever little policy they revealed shows very little difference between them. They're both fascist warmongers. They both approach the issue of crime and criminal justice reform with not even the most minimal understanding. They are both extremely wealthy, out-of-touch plutocrats, have communication skills that would put any kid in eternal counseling. I can't tell which is more stupid. You either grab them by the pussy or Pokemon Go to the polls. I mean, the only difference is one is super cringy and calculated and sounds like it was written by a computer, and another one is just what some dumb fucking Arkansas would say. And I gotta tell you what, at least the dumb fucking Arkansas is a real person that I can have a beer with. That much I can say. He might be a despicable human being, but at least he is a human being. Here's the central reason to them. I'm talking about just flavors of dog shit here. Trump is comedy, Hillary's tragedy. Would you rather die laughing or crying? I consider myself a comedian, but I've really had enough fucking tragedy in my life. I like a good tragedy every now and then, particularly if it's directed by Clint Eastwood, or I like Shakespeare tragedies better than their comedies because his sense of humor just hasn't aged well. But this sense of humor that Donald Trump brings about, this new trolling sense of humor, it's fairly 21st century, it's awesome. And I would much rather see the world end under his reign than under Hillary's, who's gonna pretend it's all okay. Don't panic. Just keep watching CNN. Fuck that. I want to go out like Major Kong in Doctor Strangelove on a rocket. Yeah! Okay, let's tear into Donald Trump first. I shouldn't even have to, but in order to give my video any legitimacy, I have to at least put him into perspective. If you support Donald Trump's behavior and the way he comes on to women, you're actually more sad than even disgusting. Do you realize that many of his fans legitimately are going to say grab him by the pussy as a slogan, like as a pickup line?
Yo, they already got the t-shirts.
Just grab him by the pussy, boy. Come on, little Billy. I'm gonna teach you how to grab a bitch by the pussy. Don't talk to him, they'll just laugh and think you're a fairy. You ain't a real man till you force your way through the saloon swinging dick, you know what I'm saying, boy? He's your son, Joe, he's fucking 5. What are you, fat little belly? What, you got grabbing nuts, boy? Grab him by the pussy.
Grab him by the pussy.
You wanna go to hell with Hillary Clinton? I didn't think so. I hear the evangelical Christians have got such a little hard-on for Donald Trump that they've just released a new Bible. It's called the New Trump Bible, as if there was an old Trump Bible. Allow me to read you a little excerpt. And this guy, his name's Adam. A-D-U-M, Adam. That's his name. It's stupid, I know, but that's his name. And he had this tremendous young woman named Eve. She was so easy. I fucked her 1,000 times. Her name's Easy Eve. I called her Easy Eve. It's a terrific name. And Adam liked to grab her by the pussy. Don't let you when you're the first man on earth. Don't let you grab by the pussy. It's terrific. And Adam and Eve got along tremendously. They were getting along tremendously in the Garden of Trump. And unlike most gardens, there were no Mexicans around. No Mexicans in it, not a one. It was absolute paradise. We had closed borders, we had a real country. Then one day, this Eve lady went off and did something very, very bad and very, very wrong. There was this tree, you see, this tree, and it had fruit on it. Beautiful fruit, it's Trump fruit. So it's the best fruit. People tell me all the time I have great fruit. No one does fruit better than me. But I said, Eve, you can't eat it. You can't eat the fruit. And she asks why. It's because then it won't be the best anymore. It tastes like shit, but you don't have the knowledge of that yet. It's Trump fruit. It's the best fruit. But you can't eat it, Eve. 'Cause you're a dummy, Eve, and we need to shut you down, Eve, until we figure out what the hell is going on. Then a Hillary snake slithers yonder. And slithery Hillary, she says, go ahead and eat the fruit. You'll come crying to my evil once you see how shitty Trump fruit tastes. I warned her, I really did. I was on Hannity in 2003. I was specifically against eating the fruit. Oh, Hillary won. Okay, I'll shut up now. Isn't it the slightest bit refreshing to see a guy so plainly hideous, so transparently grotesque? You can't even get away with lying about it. That's how much we know he's full of shit. This is medicine, folks, and it tastes nasty. And in America, I know to a lot of Americans, health is the same thing as hemlock. And you know what? In this case, it actually is. The only difference is, if Trump doesn't kill us, he will only make us stronger.
Doesn't kill you, makes you stronger.
Whereas Hillary will weaken us no matter what. Hillary will divide us simply based on the fact that she panders to the establishment, whose goal is to keep us divided with our stupid fucking ideologies, when really it should be us against them. Not black versus white, not libertarian versus freaking progressive or whatever. That's the difference between Hillary and Trump. The opposition against Trump would be so unanimous that we'd actually have a real revolution on our hands. Hillary's the class president. Trump is a school bully. The class president gets stroked by the establishment. And the school bully gets ripped to shreds by the establishment. Anybody could stand up to a school bully. Anyone. All you need is a baseball bat, or, you know, a gun, or whatever you want to bring to school. You know, anybody can fucking do that. You just gang up with a fucking bully, or just pull his pants down, make him cry. It takes courage, yes. But if you want to bring down the school board, that's who Hillary represents. You gotta work way harder at that. You need a wild card like Trump. You need someone who's just gonna wreck shit until they fucking collapse. But the alarm mentality of these liberals, it's like if we elect Trump, they think that all the chains from the slavery days are going to be brought back out from the tool shed, and all the fucking salesmen are gonna come right back up. It's like, niggers, 2 for a penny. It's like, get the fuck out of here. It's like, what, rape is gonna be the norm again for women. Or just, they come into a boardroom meeting, it's like, hi, handshake, grab them by the pussy. No, that's not what's gonna happen, because our culture has evolved. Even if Trump hasn't. Can we literally not depend on ourselves to change shit? This is how weak the American people are. They don't have faith in their own strength. They gotta put it into this other person who doesn't do shit. Obama hasn't done shit in the 8 years he's been in office. He signed a few papers, but most of his goals have been for naught. He can't even close fucking Guantanamo. If you are absolutely terrified of a Donald Trump presidency more than a Hillary Clinton presidency, then how do you deal with the monster under your bed? You fucking child. Look, the bottom line is, I still don't encourage voting of any kind in this election. It's a waste of your time, folks. Just accept your fate. Hillary's the Grim Reaper. You can't negotiate with death and be like, wait, time's up, bitch. Even if Trump won the popular vote, which he won't because Americans have no concept of Machiavellian strategy, Hillary will still win the Electoral College. That's in the Constitution. It's been rigged from the beginning, folks. Don't listen to these jackasses like Bill Maher who say, oh, the only way to change the system is to vote for it. It's like, no, get the fuck out of here. You don't change the system by playing their rigged game. You change the system by flipping the board, playing your own game, resetting the pieces through tactics of defiance, protest, alternative methods, etc. Just don't vote in this election. There's not a good reason to vote for anybody. Gary Johnson looks like some shit out of Dragon Tales, stoner retard. Jill Stein looks like a freaking little boy with Benjamin Button syndrome. Just enough. Jesus Christ. The government is the biggest terrorist in our lives. A terrorist of privacy, a terrorist on speech, and it's getting stronger with each passing president. Don't negotiate with terrorists this November. Don't vote. Don't stand for the pledge. Don't fight for the military. Stay home on election day. Spend time with your family. Because truthfully, that day might be one of the last to spend with your family in relative harmony.